So let's talk about the giant anus that resides at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who dropped another massive turd on the American public last night with his speech about election integrity. First of all, let's get one thing straight. The SAVE Act is not about protecting America's elections. It's about disenfranchising millions of voters across the United States. It's about stealing the midterms. And the reason he's pushing so hard for this right now is because he knows he's fucking losing. He knows the Republican Party is losing. He knows all of that because every single poll shows a massive crushing loss for the Republicans come November of this year. Okay. That is why he is pushing this. Okay. That is why he is making a speech on the SAVE Act, because with the SAVE Act, if you have to produce a birth certificate, what happens to all the married women across the United States? All of them who have taken their husbands' names. Okay. And if you don't think, by the way, that Republican women are just as much in danger as Democratic women, actually, statistics show that Republican women change their last name more frequently when they get married than Democratic women. Democratic women are slightly more intelligent. I'm going to give you some advice. You want to marry somebody? Don't change your fucking last name in this country right now. Don't even think about it. Okay? Don't even think about it. It would be the biggest mistake you'd ever make in your life in this country right now, because the Republican Party, and I mean all of the Republicans, cannot stand up to Donald Trump. They cannot. All right? The House is already fully on board with the SAVE Act. This needs to be stopped in the Senate. Before I go on with the rest of this video, let me ask you right now to please get on the phone to your senators and tell them not to approve the SAVE Act. I don't care whether your senator is a fucking Republican. You need to be heard, okay? You sit silent, and it's a green light for them to do whatever Donald Trump wants. The Republican Party sucks, okay? They do not give a shit about the American people, because if they did give a shit about the American people, we wouldn't be here right now. So now let me get back to last night's joke, which is what it was. If any of you people actually tuned into him, shame on you. Don't give this fucking guy an audience, because every time he opens his mouth, he is lying, okay? That's all he knows how to do is lie, all right? He released documents. Most of those documents are available to the American public already, okay? They are in the public domain. A lot of these documents are the documents that have been rejected by over 60 judges across the nation when he claimed election interference in 2020, way back when he incited an insurrection, okay? He has been rejected by judges across the nation. His claims have been debunked across the nation, okay? And the judges who have rejected his claims, many of them were approved by Republican presidents, okay? Many of these judges were appointed by Republican presidents, including him, okay? Some of the documents were completely redacted, multiple pages of them, total joke. He's a total fucking joke, this guy. Donald Trump would never bring up the 2020 election again if he did not know he was losing big time come the midterms. He's a little baby. He's looking for his pacifier. He's an infant. He's a man-child. He's a loser, okay? Don't hit your star to a loser. He's a loser. Of course, the maggots out there who are totally brainwashed, they're hopeless. Hopeless. But know this. Know this. If you are a Republican and a logical thinking Republican, and you think you have to vote Republican just because you've had an R next to your name for all of these years, and you vote for Donald Trump, you are voting for an anti-democratic candidate. You are voting for a man who doesn't give a shit about you. You are voting for a man who doesn't care about democracy, doesn't believe in democracy. This is a man who incited an insurrection where 5 people died so he could stay in office. He tried to overturn a legitimate election so he could stay in power. And the Republican Party bent over as far as they could for him. And they have continued to do that while he has been returned to office. They are worthless. Not one of them deserves to return into power. They all need to be defeated. We need to get rid of as many Republicans as we possibly can. I'm going to just say one other thing. What the documents did show is that there was foreign influence in American elections. Well, let me just talk to you a little bit about what Donald Trump has done on that front himself. And we're going to start with this year's Colombia presidential election. Okay? Donald Trump has endorsed far-right candidate Abelardo de la Espinela, okay? And not only has Donald Trump done that, but so has Representative Congressman Carlos Jimenez of Florida, Maria Elvira Salazar, Republican of Florida, and Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican of Ohio. And there are three groups right now who are putting pressure on the government to understand that this is an event violating Article 19 of the OAS Charter, which prevents members of the Organization of American States from influencing foreign elections, okay? The groups that are trying to stop this nonsense as the Washington office of Latin America, Oxfam America, and the Latin American Working Group, okay? But this has been a pattern for Trump, okay? He provided financial leverage to back President Javier Milei's party before the August 2025 by Argentina's 2025 midterm elections. And he also endorsed right-wing candidate Nari Tito Esfura before the Honduras November 2025 presidential election. So whatever he is showing you that was done to influence, we all know that Russia and China and all of those countries play a role in influencing voters on social media. We know that. This was proven, okay? This was proven, all right? But what Trump showed everyone last night was that while there may have been foreign influence in the election, it did not prove one iota that there were votes flipped or stolen during the election in 2020, okay? This is more of the same garbage because he is a piece of shit. And by the way, right now, he has instructed the FBI to go back and look at the state of Georgia once again for the 2020 election. They are spending your taxpayer dollars on this drivel. And you will remember that that is the state where Donald Trump put pressure on the election officials to find him 11,000 some odd hundred votes so he could win. He is now reviving the whole conversation about Georgia yet again. And you know what? This may not be in his favor now that Lindsey Graham is dead, because I'm pretty sure Lindsey Graham would have backed him all the way to the wall on this one. Unfortunately, Lindsey ain't with us anymore. Okay? I consider that actually fortunate for the United States of America. Another parasite down. Another enabler down. But in the meantime, the Republican Party, they complain in the background that they are dismayed by the fact that he is bringing up this whole 2020 election interference thing again, but not one of them has the courage to stand up to him. Not one of them. They are unbelievable. The only Republicans who are standing up to Donald Trump now are the ones that have already been defeated in the primaries, where more extreme candidates than them, backed by Donald Trump, have already knocked them out. Okay? Those are the only Republicans standing up. But these Republicans couldn't stand up to him while they were in office. Okay? They couldn't stand up to him enough while they were in office to stop this asshole. Okay? And the Republicans in the Republican Party handed their party over to a fascist dictator. End of story. Okay? They bent over as low and as far as they could to please this man. And you know something? The fact that they are being defeated in the primaries is just desserts as far as I'm concerned. You know what? In November, 90 million people cannot stay at home. Everybody has to come out and vote. Everybody, if you intend to survive in this country, everybody has to come out and vote in November and take this country back, okay? Because if you leave the Republicans in power, it's like telling them, hey, you know what? Everything you've been doing to fuck up this nation and to destroy our democracy is okay with us. That is exactly what they interpret your actions as, and rightfully so. I will talk to you all later.